Hey everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts. I'm coming by to share a tutorial using amazing Remelt, and it's a product that it's really gelatin-like. You melt it in the microwave and pour it over what you're wanting to mold, and it resets up. And then if you don't like it, you can remelt it and do it again and again and again and again. So it's a really great product. I've had some misses and some fun. This is actually a mold that I made using foam board, some fun foam, and some cereal box. It's actually a beer box. I used the beer box to draw my pattern on, and then after I cut it out, I glued it to the fun foam. I wanted it a little thicker than just the cardboard alone, but I didn't want it too thick. And then I hot glued it down to the foam box. I've already used this, that's why the bottom of it is peeled up a little bit. Then, after I did all that, I brushed it with a mold release. And it's just the one from Alumidust. It's called the Rubber to Rubber mold release. So I brushed the whole inside of the box, up a little ways even on the side, all around the pieces. I really saturated it good, and then let it dry. Then heat this up, pull the lid off, heat this up in the microwave for 1 minute. Then let it set again for about a minute. You don't want it bubbling hot, but it takes a while for it to cool down, so you don't have to hurry. You want it liquid enough to pour, but you don't want it so hot that it's melting the hot glue. Learned that the hard way. And then just let it set, and it'll set up in a couple of hours. And you'll know it's set up when it's not. It'll still be a little tacky feeling on top, just like Jello would, but it's set and not sticky on top. All right, I'm gonna come back and show you why I'm not showing you this part. I'll do another one and set up the whole thing, but there's a reason I haven't this time. Alright, after I poured it in and let it set, it really does peel out fairly easily. Not quite as easily as already being removed, but you get the idea. So this is our mold. And yes, it looks pretty rough right now. It's got a lot of bits of resin and all kinds of stuff stuck in it. So we would just mix up resin and pour it in the mold. You could color the resin first. You could sprinkle glitter, whatever. This Remelt won't work with the quick set resin, the white, the 10-minute resin, the amazing casting resin, because it gets too hot and it will stick in the mold and you won't be able to get it back out. Alright, so with the amazing clear cast, I cast all these pieces, and I can use the mold over and over again until I get ready to remelt it back down. Alright, so I'm going to do some of these primary elements on the top. All I did was squirt these with water, with my little squirt bottle. Just squirted them with water, and then I took a damp paintbrush and just dabbed it in and gave it some color. And then I heat set it to dry. I let it dry first, but then I heat set it after that. And then I'm going to do some stamp embossing on this, and then I'm going to put another layer of resin on the top. Alright, so I'm going to get set up and I'll show you adding these. Alright, this will work with any of the mica powders. You just have to with the primary elements, they are water soluble. So if I squirt this with water again, it will reactivate it. You can use Pearl X powders. They also have a binder in them. Not Pearl X. Perfect Pearls also has a binder in it. The Pearl X does not. So with the Pearl X, you're going to need to mix it with your sealer. Just your clear gloss sealer. And then let it dry. Alright, so I'm going to give this a squirt with the water. I'm going to move these out of the way. I want it pretty wet. Let's see, I started with the green last time. And I'm just going to daub it on randomly. No rhyme or reason. Alright. That was the olive vine primary element. Alright, and I'm going to rinse my brush. And that one was Lucky Apple. Now I'm going to do the, Indian Summer. And this is a pretty dark richer purple red. And you may have to go back and squirt it again because it does dry rather quickly. And then the last color I'm going to use is Mulberry. This is a gorgeous color. And I'm just using a really soft brush. May not be the best choice, but that's what I'm using. Alright, now I'm going to give it another squirt. Dab around any areas that I really don't care for. I've got some resistance going on right here, probably from where I sprayed the mold release. So I should have wiped the piece off with alcohol before I went to doing this, but it's not going to matter in the long run. Alright, and this is what they'll look like when they dry. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and do a little stamp embossing on it. Alright, here it is dry. Now I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad, which is an embossing ink pad, and it's colorless. all it does is provide a sticky surface for the embossing powder to stick to. This is a Ranger texture treads, and it's the peacock feathers. I have not used this one before. I was gifted it, and I haven't even pulled it out of the package, I'm ashamed to say. Alright. So, what I would normally do is pull out a pencil with a rubber eraser and just run it over the surface real quick. So, I'm going to pause and do. Alright. It's a good trick for brand new stamps. You only have to do it the one time, but it really does help the first ink to stick to the pad better. So I'm going to flip my stamp upside down and stamp onto it. You can get a better coverage than trying to do it and pressing on the back of the stamp. Alright. And I can see that's fairly well covered. Alright, I'm going to start with his body. And I'm going to try, I'm not going to stamp on the tail, and I'm going to try to just get it on the body. Alright. Alright, and of course there's a little bit of the primary elements on the stamp, and I don't want to re-stamp that onto the next piece, so I'm going to squirt my stamp pad and wipe that off. Alright, now I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder on. The ink will stay wet for a couple of minutes, so you don't have to really rush, but don't let it go too long. This is Judican's Aegean Silver. You can use any embossing powder over the embossing ink. It doesn't have to be glitter, it doesn't have to be anything in particular. This is just what I chose. At the end of the video, if you'll stay tuned, I'm going to show a couple of stills of a couple of the other ones that I've done. So I'm just going to overcoat all the pieces. This is going to be so cute. They all have been just really cute. Alright, and then I'm going to pour this back into the jar. A little stick of loose paint. Alright. Alright, now I'm going to heat set this with my embossing heat gun. You don't want to hold it in one place too long. You want to keep it moving, but it does take a couple of minutes to really get this glitter type embossing powder to melt. So I'm going to do it live for you though, so you can see it, because it's fascinating to watch. And I heat my heat gun up off the project first, so that I'm not just blowing air on it. There we go, you can see it starting to change. And when you heat the resin, it will get soft again, and you'll have to let it cool back down to stiffen back up again. Alright, and I'll do the legs and stuff, and then I'll come back and show you. Alright, this one is going to turn out so adorable. It's going to look like a zebra. Alright, like I said, it does get pretty soft. Alright, I'm going to put another layer of resin over the top of this and let it set again overnight. And then I'll come back and share it with you. I'll do another video where I'll actually do the top coat, but I'm not going to do it on this video. Make a way too long a video. Okay, here it is after the resin has set up overnight. And you can see it's shiny and sparkly, and I love the shimmer of the primary elements powders. It almost, the stamp almost gave it a look like a zebra almost. Especially on the face. Alright. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is put this together with some brads. Unfortunately, the brads are not long enough to go through both sets of legs and the body. You can take your craft knife to drill holes. I've already used my Dremel tool to drill my holes. So I'm going to brad the front legs on, and then I'm going to hot glue the back legs on. Alright. And when I used my Dremel tool, I kind of wiggled it back and forth to make a slot. Alright, and as you can see, it really doesn't leave a lot just going through those two pieces. Then I'll just line up the back leg and hot glue it on, and the same with the front. Alright, and I'm going to do that and then I'll come back and show it. Alright, and there it is. You could glue a glue-on bale right here and hang it from a chain. So cute. Here are some of the other ones I did. Cute. This one I didn't stamp his face or his hooves or his tail. This is actually a leaf stamp, but it almost looks like flames against the red. And then this was the first one that I did. It's a hieroglyphic stamp. And I just marbled the resin with just a little bit of brown. Alright? Super fun, super fun. Over the next couple of days I'll get a blog post up, and in the description below is my blog address, and I'll put a pattern that you can download of the horse. Alright? Alright, I shall holler at y'all later. Bye now.